Have you ever wondered how lawyers take a really messy, complicated situation and just make sense of it? Well, today we're cracking open their secret toolkit. We're talking about a framework called IRAC. And I know it sounds like a boring acronym, but trust me, it's actually a super powerful way of thinking that can help you solve almost any problem.
So let's set the scene. Picture this, a priceless vase sitting perfectly by an open window. And then, bam, a stray baseball comes flying through, shattering it into a million pieces. You've got broken glass, an angry homeowner, a kid next door looking guilty. It's just a total mess. So who pays? How do you even begin to figure that out?
When you're faced with a mystery like this, you can't just jump to conclusions. No, you need to call in a team of specialists. So let's think of IRAC as an elite detective agency, where each member has a very specific and very crucial role to play in solving the case.
Okay, so who are these master sleuths? Let's meet the four partners that make up the IRAC detective agency. Each one is totally essential for bringing order to the chaos.
First up, you've got Detective I, the issue spotter. This detective's gift is cutting through all the drama, all the noise, and pinpointing the one precise legal question that needs an answer. They're the one who frames the entire investigation.
Next on the team is Detective R, the rule finder. This is the agency's resident genius researcher. Their job is to hit the books, the law books, and find the exact rule, the specific statute, or the legal precedent that applies to the question our issue spotter just found. No guesswork here, just cold, hard law.
Now, meet the star of the show, Detective A, the analyst. This is the real mastermind. The analyst takes the rule that R found and meticulously applies it to all those messy facts from our case. This, right here, is where the real detective work happens, connecting all the dots.
And finally, you can't solve a case without a closer. That's Detective C. After the analyst has laid out all the connections, the closer steps in, reviews all the work, and delivers the final, clear, and logical conclusion. They state the most likely outcome: case closed.
All right, so we've met the team. Now let's see them in action, shall we? The IRAC detective agency has just been called in on a new assignment, the case of the broken vase.
Now, these detectives, they don't just wing it. They follow a very strict four-step protocol. It ensures nothing gets missed. First, they identify the issue. Second, they state the rule. Third, they analyze the facts, and only then do they reach their conclusion. Okay, so Detective I arrives on the scene and immediately gets to work. They frame the whole case with one super specific question: whether the neighbor is liable for negligence for the damage caused by their baseball. See that? We're not just asking who's at fault. We're asking about a very specific legal concept: negligence. That's key.
With that question locked in, Detective R is on it. They consult the rulebook and come back with the law. It turns out, to prove negligence, you have to prove four things: that there was a duty, that the duty was breached, that the breach caused the problem, and that there were actual damages. This right here is the blueprint for the entire case.
And now it's time for the analyst, Detective A, to shine. They take that four-part rule and just walk through the facts. Was there a duty to be careful? Yep. Was that duty breached by hitting a baseball toward the house? For sure. Did that action directly cause the vase to break? Absolutely. And were there damages? Well, yeah, a priceless vase is now in a million pieces. It's a perfect, logical chain, one element after another.
So, with that airtight analysis complete, Detective C, our closer, steps in to deliver the verdict. Since all four elements of negligence have been met, the conclusion is clear. The neighbor is most likely liable for the damage. Boom, case closed. Notice how that conclusion isn't a guess. It flows directly from the analysis.
So, the agency cracked the case, no problem. But why is this method so darn effective? What makes IRAC the go-to framework for basically every law student and lawyer out there?
Well, the success of this whole system really comes down to four key things. Let's take a quick look at what makes this framework so incredibly solid. First, it forces you to organize your thinking into a clear roadmap. Second, and this is huge for any students out there, it makes your logic incredibly easy for someone else, like a professor, to follow. Third, it makes sure you address every single piece of the puzzle. You can't just skip ahead. And finally, this is actually how experienced lawyers think and break down problems in the real world. You're learning a professional-grade skill.
So look, this is more than just a fun story about a detective agency, right? IRAC is a really practical, absolutely essential tool that is the foundation for pretty much all legal analysis.
And you're going to see it everywhere. It's how you'll tackle your law school exams, it's how you'll write practice essays, and work through those tricky what-if scenarios professors love to throw at you. And it's the bedrock of all your legal writing. Honestly, getting this down is one of the most important things you can do.
So now you know how lawyers use the IRAC framework to solve a case. But here's something to think about. This method, issue, rule, analysis, conclusion, it isn't just for lawyers. You can use it to solve all kinds of problems. So, what's a complex issue in your work or even just in your life that you could crack wide open if you just started thinking like a detective?